There are many reasons why someone may not feel drawn towards the idea of having children, and it is important to understand that all of the reasons are valid. Sometimes the desire simply just isn't there. Society tends to portray parenthood as the ultimate fulfillment, but not every soul feels that pull, and that doesn't make them any less whole or loving. For some, the truth is that they simply don't want the kind of attachment that comes with raising a child. Parenthood is not a short term experience, it is a lifelong bond. And for people who value freedom, autonomy, and the ability to move through life lightly, that level of permanent attachment can feel heavy. A child isn't just a companion, it is a soul who will always be connected to you, who will always require presence, attention, and responsibility. And you need to think about it in the way that when you have children, until maybe 18 years later or more, they're always going to be there in your life, in your household, and you'll only be able to be by yourself again once they move out. But even when they move out, they'll always still be tied to you. And some people look at this and realize, honestly, and with self awareness, that it doesn't align with how they actually want to live. And this kind of self awareness is something to celebrate. It shows a willingness to look at parenthood not through the lens of romanticized ideals, but through the lens of just the truth. Many step into parenting because it is expected or because they assume love will automatically make it easy, but pausing and asking yourself, do I actually want this? Am I built for this? Does my soul even long for this? That is wisdom. And maybe society will tell you this is the normal way of life. Life is just life, giving birth to life over and over again. Maybe you want to do what your parents did because you got brought up in that way, but just because the majority of the population is doing it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to do it as well. And by coming to these realization, you honor your own path rather than forcing yourself into a mold that isn't actually meant for you. Just because you can have children doesn't mean that you have to. Just because you can create a human inside your body, just because it is an option for you, doesn't mean that you have to take it. It is your life. And for some people, fulfillment is not found in creating or raising children. It's found in freedom, freedom to choose how to spend each day, freedom to rest when the body asks for it, freedom to travel, to create, to explore without being tethered. And there is a deep joy in living without that kind of permanent responsibility, as well as there is joy with having children as well, because that will resonate with somebody else. And if you choose not to have children, that isn't selfishness, it is alignment. Some souls are wired to thrive in constant connection, while others are wired to thrive in spaciousness. Neither is better or worse, they are simply different expressions of life, different life paths. Others may feel that their nurturing energy belongs elsewhere. Instead of pouring all of their love into raising a child, they may feel called to nurture themselves, to heal their inner world, to devote energy to creativity, spiritual practice, friendships, animals, or community. Love doesn't always have to look like parenthood. Just because it's the most common one, love can be expressed in endless forms, and often these forms ripple outward in ways that impact many lives and not just one or a few. And some people know that they are not capable of looking after someone else because they haven't worked on themselves enough yet. They want to instead devote their life to being the most highest, most authentic version of themselves, to really build themselves up first. And maybe by the time that they have done this, they won't be able to have children. But everyone is on their own journey, and some people feel so ready for it. And even maybe in another life, someone would choose to have children, or maybe they've already had children in a previous life and they came here this time with a different purpose. We have to remember that we all came to Earth from different places, or maybe even came back to Earth once again, and we are all on different paths. We are not all in the same place. One person may have a lot of self-development work to do, and another person may need to learn more about empathy towards others. Another person may need to learn more about how to stand up for themselves more and not let society control them, and really stepping into their full authentic power. And that can require a lot of years of devoting that time to yourself. And another soul may be learning to truly love and appreciate themselves, because in their past lifetime they never got to do that, because maybe in their past lifetime they literally gave their whole life to another human being and got lost in the process. I mean, we see this happening all the time. Parents thinking that they are ready to have children, and then that's how broken families come into play, where it's not as perfect as you once thought it would be. Maybe you romanticized it in your mind, and then when it was actually happening right in front of your eyes, you realized, I have no idea what to do. I am just feeling so lost. And there can be so many complications, and a lot of the times even mothers get depression after having a child, or you know, everyone is doing it for the first time, and some people can parent beautifully, and at the end of their life they really say, yes, this is what I was supposed to do in this lifetime, raise somebody with my mindset, really help them on their journey. But other people can also do this too by helping other people. It doesn't always have to be in a parenting way. We are all here to learn different lessons, and we are all here with a different soul purpose. Every person you meet will be a unique being with their own unique mind and unique opinions about life and how they want their life to look like. For one person, it's a beautiful experience raising a child, and then there is the recognition that some people simply do not want to be bound by the kind of responsibility that comes with a child. It is a way, a permanent contract, and for certain souls that weight feels suffocating rather than fulfilling. But for other souls, it's the complete opposite. These individuals long for lightness, space, and the ability to move with the wind. To them, that is what makes them feel alive. And from here, you can open the doorway to different life callings beyond traditional parenthood. Some people are free spirits, for example. Their path is to move, explore, and collect experiences, never settling into one place for too long. They travel when and where they want to, whether it's short trips or long-term stays abroad, and their home becomes wherever they feel the most inspired at the time. They collect experiences, music festivals, cultural events, spiritual retreats instead of responsibilities. They have deep connections with people, but nothing tying them down permanently. And then another life path is the creative visionary, whose purpose is to birth ideas, art, and expression into the world rather than children. Their creations can reach people they will never meet, and they carry their spirit forward in a way that is just as meaningful as parenthood. But instead of raising children, their legacy is the work they put into the world. And they love touching multiple people's hearts and being that helping hand and guide for them, but not just one or two or a little bit more people. They want to inspire thousands, and they feel like if they had a child, they may not be able to fill this soul mission. Then some people walk the path of self-discovery and healing, diving deep into their inner world, transforming themselves so they can hold higher lights, pouring their energy into inner transformation so they can rise higher in consciousness. Solitude becomes sacred. Meditation, nature walks, journaling, or inner work are where they thrive. They dedicate their time to exploring who they are, healing old wounds and growing spiritually. They might become a guide, healer, or mentor for others without needing to raise kids, because if they had kids, they wouldn't be able to do these things. Then others are nurturers, but in a different kind of way. They nurture communities, friendships, animals, or collective movements, channeling their energy into places where it spreads broadly. Maybe they foster pets, volunteer, or support causes that matter to them. They get to nurture, but in a way that's flexible and doesn't require lifelong attachment. They still give love and care, but it's directed towards animals, friends, chosen family, or a community project. And then some are called to a peaceful, quiet, almost monk life, one of stillness and inward reflection. They enjoy quiet mornings and have hobbies of reading books, time out in nature, and time for themselves. They build a life where their home is their sanctuary. They might have a partner or they might not, but either way, their peace and freedom comes first. And there is so many more. Each of these paths is sacred. Each one carries its own kind of purpose, and what is important is to understand that fulfillment does not come in only one form. You may even feel like you resonate with more than one of these paths, and that is completely normal. You also don't have to be tethered to just one. You can make your own path. You may want to experience life with a partner, and you may want to focus on that without bringing a child into the world with that person. And the world will often tell us that the normal path is to grow up, have children, raise a family, but there are infinite ways to live a meaningful life. And the truth is, many of the people who change the world most profoundly are those who walk an unconventional path. And this leads into a deeper reflection that many people carry: the difference between biological family and soul family. Sometimes we experience confusion or even pain when the love we feel with our biological family doesn't carry the same resonance as the love we feel with certain soul connections. We may love our parents, our siblings, and yet feel the bond is heavy, difficult, or even mismatched in a way, and then we meet a soulmate or a twin flame, and suddenly the connection feels electric, magnetic, and cosmic. The energy flows with ease. It feels like recognition. It feels like home. And the difference can make people question, if I had a child, would they truly feel like my soul family, or would it be another relationship of duty and responsibility without the resonance that my soul longs for? These are actually profound questions, and they show how deeply someone is living from their soul. And the truth is, not all family is soul family. Sometimes we are born into families for karmic reasons, to learn lessons, to heal patterns, and to face challenges that strengthen us. And sometimes we meet people outside of our bloodline who feel more like family than anyone we grew up with. These are the people who will reflect our soul back to us, people who we are linked to, who expand us, who awaken us, who help us so much on our journey to enlightenment. And when someone has tasted this kind of magnetic soul connection, they know that this is so difficult to find, and it is so unique and one of a kind. And what is often experienced with a twin flame or soulmate, it changes everything. You realize that love doesn't have to feel heavy or forced. It can flow with a sense of recognition, a sense of timelessness. You realize that some bonds are written in the soul long before they appear in your physical life. And from that perspective, it makes sense to hesitate at the idea of bringing a child into the world without knowing if that resonance would even be there. And a lot of children do feel disconnected from their parents, and they feel like their parents don't truly know them. However, their close friends know them through and through. Sometimes our parents only see a certain version of us, and then our friends see the real us. And the reason is because soul family is not always found in bloodlines. Sometimes it's chosen, sometimes it's discovered, sometimes it arrives in the form of friends, lovers, or teachers, or even strangers who pass through our lives but leave a lasting imprint. And so if your path does not call you towards having children, that does not mean you will lack family in your life. It means that family will be found in energy, in resonance, in soul recognition, and your life will still be filled with connection, but the kind of connection that feels aligned, magnetic, and true. And there is so much pressure in this world to see children as the next step. We are told from a young age that life is supposed to unfold in a very specific pattern. You grow up, you find a partner, you have children, and then you live for them. And for many people, that just doesn't feel right. And for others, it fulfills them. But there is something inside that resists for another person. There is this whisper in the soul that says, this is not your path. And when that whisper appears, it can be confusing and even painful because the world around us may not understand it. And others may find that their love simply flows in different directions. For them, choosing not to have children is not an avoidance of responsibility. It is actually honoring of their nature. They are choosing alignment over expectation. And this self-awareness is powerful, to be able to admit, I don't think I could carry that weight. I don't think I could be happy with that attachment. That does take courage. Many people step into parenting without ever questioning themselves, just maybe because their partner wants it, but have they really thought about what they truly want? But by pausing and reflecting and realizing that parenthood is not aligned, that is a higher kind of wisdom. It shows someone is living consciously and not just blindly following along with what everyone else is doing. And all the life paths that I explained earlier, every single path out there is not greater than another path. They are all sacred and they are all needed in this world. Just like there are many jobs existing because every person is amazing at something and every person adds something different and valuable to society. The world needs free spirits. The world needs visionaries. The world needs healers. The world needs nurturers of communities. The world needs those who hold silence and peace. And the world also needs parents. Every soul has its role, and not every role involves bringing children into the world. A twin flame connection, for example, feels like telepathy. It feels like a mirror so clear it shakes you to your core. It feels like an energy exchange so magnetic you cannot ignore it. This kind of resonance can make ordinary connections feel dim, muted, and even forced. And so the thought of bringing a child into the world without the same resonance can feel unaligned, because once you've tasted that soul recognition, it's hard to settle for less. But even if you have not met your twin flame before, or if you haven't yet met all your soulmates, because some we meet later on in life, the reason why you may not be drawn towards having children is because there are those soul family connections waiting for you, and together you can join and create, because two souls, two or more souls joining together and creating together is so powerful, especially if it's souls who you have traveled through lifetimes with. And maybe that is the kind of life that you are meant to live. Maybe before you even came to experience Earth, you chose the people who you were going to come here with, and you had a plan in mind. This is the way that you wanted your life to go. You didn't want to follow the ordinary path. You didn't want to follow what is the most common path to take. You wanted to be uncommon among the common, but also uncommon among the uncommon. And this is why some people hesitate. They want their life to be filled with soul family, with deep recognition, with magnetic resonance, not with obligations, not with random or heavy. They long for that connection that feels destined and not demanded. And that longing is not wrong. It is a reflection of their soul's design, especially if you are an old soul, especially if you have already experience what it's like to have children in a different life, maybe not in a human form, but you once created life when you were something else, and you have already experienced what that's like. Maybe you want to experience something different in this life. And this is why it's so important to honor your intuition, to choose your connections with consciousness, and to build your life around resonance rather than expectation, because in the end, your life belongs to you. And whether you feel it with children, with friends, with lovers, with art, with animals, or with community, or with solitude, it is still sacred. What matters is not whether it looks like everyone else's path. What matters is that it feels aligned with your soul.